You pick it up without thinking. You didn't hear a notification. Nothing buzzed. Nothing lit up. Your hand just moved on its own, unlocked the screen, scrolled through nothing, and put it back down. And you've already forgotten you did it. That happens to you dozens of times a day, maybe more than 100. And here's the part that should stop you cold. Your ancestors are responsible, not your parents, not your generation. Your ancestors from 50,000 years ago. Because the part of your brain that makes you reach for your phone was not built for a phone. It was built for survival, and it was very, very good at its job. Let's go back, way back. Not to the 1980s, not to the invention of the internet. Back to the African savanna, to a world where the wrong moment of inattention could end your life. Your ancestors lived in small groups, 15 to 50 people at most. Every single relationship in that group mattered. Who was angry, who was forming alliances, who had food, who was sick, who was leaving, who was coming back. Social information was not entertainment, it was intelligence. It was survival data. Miss the wrong social signal and you could be exiled from the group. Be exiled and you died. Alone on the savanna, you didn't last long. Your brain evolved to prevent that. It built a system, an alert system that scans constantly for two things: new information and social signals. The moment something changes in your environment, your brain fires a small burst of dopamine. Not a flood, just a drip. A chemical nudge that says, pay attention, something changed, go check. That system saved your ancestors' lives. Now you carry it in your pocket. Neuroscientist Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan has spent decades distinguishing between two brain systems, wanting and liking. Most people assume they're the same. They are not. The dopamine system in your brain drives wanting. It creates the urge to seek, to check, to pursue. The liking system, driven by opioids, activates only when you actually receive the reward. Here's the dangerous part. Wanting doesn't require liking. You can desperately want something that gives you almost no satisfaction when you get it. And that is exactly what social media has learned to exploit. Every time you check your phone, your brain runs the same ancient loop it ran on the savanna. Something might have changed. Someone might have sent a signal, go check. And when you check and find a notification, a like, a new message, that dopamine drip hits. Not because the content is meaningful, because your brain registered new social information. Mission accomplished, threat assessed, safety confirmed. And then it resets, and 30 seconds later the urge returns. This is not a character flaw. This is not laziness or weakness or poor self-control. This is a 50,000-year-old scanning system meeting a notification architecture that was deliberately designed to trigger it every few minutes. Consider what researchers Adam Alter and B.J. Fogg, who studies persuasive technology at Stanford, have both documented. The people who build the apps you use understand the reward loop better than you do. They have studied it. They have A/B tested it. They have hired behavioral scientists specifically to find the precise timing, the precise color, the precise sound that maximizes the frequency with which you return to the app. The red notification badge is not red by accident. Red is the color your visual cortex is most sensitive to. It is the color of blood, of fire, of predators. It hijacks your ancient threat detection system and turns it into a reason to pick up your phone. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a red notification badge and the flash of a predator's movement in tall grass. Let that land for a moment. There is another layer to this, even older than dopamine. Your ancestors didn't just fear predators. They feared social rejection. Being cast out of the group was a death sentence, so your brain evolved to treat social pain the same way it treats physical pain. The same neural circuits activate when you feel excluded as when you feel physical injury. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA scanned participants' brains while they played a simple ball-tossing video game. When participants were excluded from the game by the other players, the brain region that lit up, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, was identical to the region that processes physical pain. Being ignored hurts your brain the same way a broken bone does. Now understand what that means for your phone. When you post something and no one responds, your brain doesn't register mild disappointment. It registers social threat. When you send a message and the person reads it but doesn't reply, your body produces stress hormones. Your heart rate may rise, your cortisol spikes. Your ancient system is screaming, you have been rejected by the group. And the only way to resolve the threat is to check again, to look for a response, to confirm that you are still inside the circle. You are not addicted to your phone. You are addicted to the social feedback loop that your phone has been engineered to simulate. That distinction matters because it changes what you do about it. Your brain evolved in an environment of scarcity. Social information was rare. News from outside your group arrived once a week if you were lucky, carried by travelers or neighboring bands. Your attention system was calibrated for a world where new information arrived slowly. Now you have access to more social information in one scroll than your ancestors processed in a year. And your brain, running ancient software, treats every single piece of it as potentially vital. It cannot triage. It cannot decide that a stranger's opinion about a movie is less important than a rival tribe's movement through your territory. Everything gets flagged. Everything gets processed. Everything feels urgent. That is why you feel exhausted, not because you have a weak mind, because you have a very powerful ancient mind running in a world it was not designed for. The Roman philosopher Seneca wrote 2,000 years ago, Omnia aliena sunt, tempus tantum nostrum est. Everything is foreign to us, only time is ours. He had no smartphone. He could not have imagined one. But he understood in his era that the greatest theft was the theft of attention, that every moment spent chasing someone else's news, someone else's opinion, someone else's drama, was a moment lost from the only thing you could not recover. You are not broken. You are ancient. And you are living in a world that has figured out exactly how to exploit that. Here is what your ancestors understood that you might have forgotten. Social bonds are built through sustained attention, not frequent checking. The relationships that kept your ancestors alive were maintained through presence, through uninterrupted time spent together, through long conversations by firelight, not through rapid-fire exchanges of short signals. The medium you were built for is depth, not speed. Every time you put the phone face down, even for 20 minutes, you are doing something genuinely radical. You are overriding 50,000 years of programming. You are telling your ancient alert system, there is no threat. The group is stable. You do not need to check. And slowly, in increments, you can recalibrate. Not because willpower conquers evolution, but because evolution also gave you something else, a prefrontal cortex. The part of your brain that can look at the pattern, name it, and decide, consciously, deliberately, what to do next. Your ancestors reached for information to stay alive. Now you get to choose what you reach for. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a red notification badge and the flash of a predator's movement in tall grass.